Hey, Inspired Tribe, how's it going? Welcome to the Live Inspired Livestream, edition number 146, or episode number 146. That's pretty amazing. Thank you for being with us. We're healthy, we're wealthy, we're whole, we're free, we're excited that you're here. It is Monday, March 15th, 2021. Now, I'll keep repeating that. 20, W-O-N, 21. We won. This is the first year of a completely new era. And we're just 4 episodes shy of our 150th Inspired live stream. That's pretty crazy in the best possible way. And we look forward to celebrating that next week. We are excited, very excited for always an expanding tribe. We're expanding here on YouTube with you guys. We're expanding on all the other platforms. We're expanding within our members. We're expanding within the courses. So it's really a beautiful, expansive journey. And speaking of our membership calls, before we dive into today's topic, and we'll remind you guys again, we are soon starting a European edition of the membership call because of the time zone difference. The European members who'd love to join us can't really join us, but we're going to do a European call, which is going to be at a convenient time for all European members, 6, 7 p.m., something like that. So just send us an email. If you're in Europe and you'd love to join a weekly iMembership call, we do practices together. We do meditations together, journeys together. We equip you with new tools, techniques. It's really a powerful forward movement journey. And so if you want to join us, just send us an email to 365inspiredliving@gmail.com. I pinned it on top of that comment section, and we'll let you know when we start and how to join. And it's going to be a really amazing journey, and we look forward to connecting with all our European tribesters. Now, while everybody is jumping on, please hit the like button as soon as you do, and let us know in the live chat section where you're tuning in from, who you are, and maybe even what brought you here. It's always interesting to hear those journeys. Were you invited by someone? Did this live stream just randomly pop up on your screen? Of course, there's nothing random. Hey, Agnieszka, how's it going? By the way, Agnieszka is a perfect example. She's tuning in from Scotland, has been with us through the whole last year and the courses. And so Agnieszka from Scotland would be someone who might want to join the iMembership calls. Today, maybe, you kind of got the hint in the title or in the description. It's what our members call a little bit of a kick-ass live stream. And it might be a little bit of a kick-in-the-butt live stream. And it's always based on, as we said, the topics we pick up, they're always based on our experience, based on what we observe. And this is not a judgment call. So, please forgive me ahead of time. But we see certain patterns all the time. And the only thing that is a little bit frustrating about observing those patterns is that we also see the potential at the same time. If you see so much potential and then you see patterns of avoiding that potential, as someone who's doing that every day, as someone who has been doing that for a long time, as Kristin has been doing this as a one-on-one coach for a long time, and we've been doing it together for a while now. There's nothing that frustration is maybe the wrong word, but nothing that sparks something inside of us more than seeing so much potential and then seeing people not living up to it yet or finding excuses. So that's kind of the topic for today, is really change. And I'm going to be super honest right off the bat. It's not easy. It's not easy. And whoever says it's super easy, all you need to do is say these 5 magic words 7 times a day for 15 days and everything will change. That's not the truth. That's not the truth. But what the irony is, your discipline, your showing up will eventually put you in a state of living that feels easy, that feels flowy, that feels exciting. And even when it's not easy, you are so in the flow of things that it's okay for you. You're just kind of going with what is there. So that's the part. I want to say this right off the bat. Change is not easy. And there's a reason why it's not easy, because while it's easy to say, well, yesterday I was thinking about all my limitations, about my lack of, confidence, about my, maybe my body that I don't like, or yesterday I was thinking about my bank account that doesn't look the way I want it to look. And today I'm going to change those thoughts to, I have the perfect body and I have the perfect life and I'm a billionaire. That's all good and well, but that's just surface work. It's just your conscious thoughts. And if you are like 99.99999% of the people, your conscious mind is not the one in charge most of the time. It is your subconscious mind. We are running programs, okay? That's how we are built. In order to make our lives easier, in order to make our day-to-day easier, in order to make things more comfortable for us, we run on autopilot a lot of the time. Imagine if after 10 years, 15, 20 years of driving, you'd still have to think about the whole process of, now I need to push the pedal a little further down. Now I need to, steer the steering wheel in this direction. You don't think about that stuff. You just do it. Your subconscious mind is running the whole show for the most part, which is a good thing, right? This is a positive example of how a subconscious programming is really supporting you. But then there's so many things that are not supporting you. And we see this time and time and time again. There's a pattern of excuses that keeps people from doing that work. And here's the thing too. The change work is not something that will last for 20 years. The real change work lasts for months. Maybe in some circumstances, it lasts for a year or two, but not like super intense every day, in periods, in increments. But the suffering, if you don't do anything, the mediocrity at best, if at all, that's going to last your whole life. It's not going to change itself. And if you are willing to show up for yourself, that's what we always say. If you are willing to show up for yourself, not for anyone else, for yourself, then change is not just inevitable, it is guaranteed. Because if you keep practicing a new state every day, if you show up for yourself, you are going to reprogram your mind, your body, your whole subconscious being, and you're going to have a new beneficial, or not just one, multiple new beneficial beliefs and habits and programs that you're just going to keep improving. But this is the thing where all the excuses come into play. And let's see if you find yourself on that list. I put together a little list of the most common excuses that we hear. And if you find yourself, it is not about judging yourself. It is not about beating yourself up about it. It's just about recognizing it. And this is maybe some that I did not put on here, but maybe that's the kind of the prerequisite for it all. Is most people lie to themselves. They lie to themselves so they don't have to go to that part where work is required. And if you notice watching this and seeing this list that you've been lying to yourself, that's okay. Don't beat yourself up. Just realize, okay, I have been telling myself this, and now there's a shift moment for me here. But I want to tell you something. While it is work, and while it requires showing up, and while it requires discipline of you, the rewards, there's instant rewards. There's instant better feeling, but the mid to long-term rewards are just absolutely amazing. So let's go through that list here. Number one excuse that we hear in this work, and we always call it change and shift work, is I have no time. I might like to do this. I might like to change something, do a course, do a coaching, go to a seminar, but I don't have the time. Now, this is bullshit. I'm going to call you out on it and say, I call bullshit. If you have time to scroll through your social media feed, if you have time to watch TV and sit on a couch, if you have time to go out and drink with your friends, then you have more than enough time. Because I'll be honest with you, we know people that are, doing 2 or 3 jobs, maybe even going to school, and still working on themselves, still doing the loving self work, and they find the time. Because if you desire change enough, the time will appear for you and you will make time for that. We have a whole process in one of our courses to create that space for you, but you got to show up for the course. You got to learn that. You got to experience it and see the benefits of it. But if you say I have no time, I'm calling bullshit. It's not true. You just haven't made the decision to make time. You just have not made the decision to make time. And guess what? If you think you need 8 hours of sleep, you don't. You don't need 8 hours of sleep. Cut an hour. Go to 7. You'll be fine. You'll work just fine. And you'll have a whole hour to do the work. So no time is not a valid excuse. Then the second excuse that we hear a lot is, I don't have the resources or the money. Now, this is always true or never true, depending on how you want to look at it. It's always true because even billionaires that we know are, when they are at a certain sized project, looking to finance their project. They're looking for the resources to make their vision work. Because guess what? If they have 1 billion, first of all, they're not going to put all of their money into it. But even if they were to, maybe they need 2. So even at that state, that is always true, that there might not be enough resources in your visible field. But it's also never true, because there's always a path if you desire to find one. Then the path appears. If you are so in this decision, and determined might be a very, old paradigm word, but sometimes it takes determination. If you're so determined to create change in your life, to better your life, to become the best version of yourself, to become the amazing being that you were really born to be. And let me say this again, most people are living at about 5% of their potential, maybe 10. And it goes downwards the longer they live, because they put more of their intensity, more of their joy, more of their attention and focus into their life's work, whatever it is that they desire to do at the beginning. And the more they get used to their circumstances, the more things go downhill. So your potential is then decreasing rather than increasing. And 5%, but well, call me crazy, but let's say it's 20%. That's not satisfying. That's pitiful. Who wants to live at 20%? Who would want to drive a car that has like 500 horsepower and you're driving it at 100 or maybe 50? That's not satisfying. So in order for you to unleash your potential, you just need to make a choice. You need to make a decision. You need to be willing to show up for yourself and stop making those excuses like, I don't have enough money. Guess what? There's always the potential for that excuse. If you make a decision, the resources will appear, a path will appear, a possibility will appear. And if you don't believe me, go and find someone who's done it before you, who didn't have enough money at the time or enough resources to do it, and then a path appeared because they just wouldn't take no for an answer, because they just wouldn't accept that it isn't possible, and then it became possible. So no money, again, no excuse. It's just about making a choice and saying there's only one path forward, and that's the yes path. The yes path, the yes path, the yes path. That's what I'm going to move into.
We're the best example.
We are the best example.
Inspired Tribe is the best example for that.
The whole Inspired Tribe is the best example. Well, actually, that's a perfect example what Kristin just said. The way the Inspired Tribe and the Inspired Channel came about was from complete nothingness. There weren't thousands and 10,000s and hundreds of thousands of dollars to be invested in this. It was simply a showing up, creating something from nothing, but actually that nothingness is the field of all possibilities. That's where it was created from. And whatever resources we needed began to show up along the path. So you just got to quit making that excuse that you don't have enough resources or money, because guess what? The longer you make that excuse, the longer this will be a truth in your life. And you will believe it so hard and so intensely that it will not shift. So shift today. No more tomorrows. Today. Show up today. So we're just at number 2, guys. Number 3, and this is one of my favorites, the universe will do it. Especially in the community of, in the spiritual community, especially whether that's it doesn't matter what exactly you believe in or how you name it, God, source, universe. The universe will do it. God will do it. Source will do it. Well, that's not how this works. You are confusing the principles and the mechanisms with intention and focus. You are the one who's putting intention and focus. That's your free will. The universe does not run you. The universe has mechanisms and laws with which you always work, just like gravity. You always work with gravity, whether you think about it or not. But the universe will not do it without you being the intentional driver of that ship. The universe will, because of your vibration, because of what you're emanating, will bring to you more of that. That's what the universe does. The universe will not change your life. If you're sitting on your couch waiting for the universe to change your life, you will wait until the day you draw your last breath. That's a promise. That's a promise. That's not how it works. You have to create the energy for change. And we're going to talk about how that works in a minute here. But you have to create that energy. You have to create that new vibration forward. So the universe will not do it for you, but the universe is in full cooperation with what you are offering. The universe is in full cooperation with what you're offering. What does that mean? It means that if you are walking and if you are jumping, if you are running, you are actively, joyfully, if you are on a plane flying, if you're in a paraglider, if you are in a parachute, in all of these scenarios, you are using and cooperating with gravity in a satisfying way. If you are on the top of a building and you jump off the top of that building, you are cooperating with the universe in a very unsatisfying way. So this is how that works. This is the equivalent of saying, well, the universe will do it. No, but it provides the mechanisms. It cooperates with whatever you're offering. Then there's excuse number 4 that we hear a lot. Well, I really want to do this. I want to change, and I want to create abundance and health and joy and mysticism and spiritual experiences, and I want to be a beautiful co-creator. I'm just waiting for. So I'm waiting for next year because astrology really isn't playing into my hands this year. I am waiting for until I can maybe move out of this apartment because I'm not feeling the vibes here. There is a trillion excuses that you could use to say, I'm just waiting for this or that or that or that to happen. But guess what? That's just another excuse. That's just another. It's like saying, it's like saying, I really want to change and I really want to create this beautiful body and I want to work out and I want to be fit. I'm just going to wait for winter because in summer it's too hot and then fall is too beautiful and spring is too springy. So winter is really a good time. Bullshit. If you really desire to do that, you make the choice today and you take your first step today. You take your first step of action today. I'm waiting for.
It's about the small steps.
It's about the small steps. It's about just steps. Some days they're small, some days they're bigger, some days they're tiny, but you just want to keep taking steps. That's the thing. Then there's another one we've heard a lot of times is especially when it gets into the deeper stuff and when it gets into patterns of behavior and beliefs and habits that don't serve you. When you start changing those, we hear a lot, well, if I do that, I won't be me anymore. I won't be who I am anymore. Now, I'm asking you directly, if you enjoy being who you are, why would you want to change in the first place? If you enjoy being what you are being and living what you're living, why would you want to change? Why would you want anything to change? This is the most accurate thing I've ever heard is you can't change your personal reality without changing your personality. That's just is. And that's the truth. For those who have ever seen people really, really live up to their true potential and doing extraordinary things in their own eyes and in the eyes of others, because we recognize if someone is living up to their potential, we admire those people because not necessarily for the end product, but for the way they present themselves, the way they live, the way they apply themselves to their lives and to the lives of others. We love those people because we love their energy. So if you think that they started out like that, 99% of the time they didn't. They were someone else. They were broken, sad, in pain or whatever. There was something usually there that sparked this initial inspiration for change. And then these people, they change themselves, because you are not, your true authentic self is not a product of your previous life experiences. That's just the human self that was created through beliefs and experiences. You can change that. You can totally change it. You can unleash the true authentic self. But that's, again, that's showing up and doing the work. And for those who say, well, I won't be me anymore, if you enjoy who you are, if you enjoy your life, if you love what is happening, if you love your experience, then by all means, do what you have been doing. But if you don't, then accept that you are going to change. Your views are going to change. Your perspective's going to change. Your beliefs are going to change. And hence, everything around you is going to change. Your friends, how people view you is going to change. What they think about you is going to change. But that's all out of your control. But we're just saying that's a natural byproduct of change. Yes, you will change. Your surroundings will change. That's a good thing. In our book, that's a really good thing. The next excuse that we hear, and this is kind of playing off on what we already said. Well, first, my circumstances need to change. Well, guess what? That's another thing that is always true or never true. Because this could be true if you are already super on your path, and if you already run 3 companies, you can always say, well, we won't do that until the circumstances change. But truth is, you change, then the circumstance changes. It's never the other way around. You might benefit from the change of circumstances, but that's not the inner work that happens. So if you're waiting for that, again, you're going to be waiting forever. Will you ever have?
It's out of your control.
And it's out of your control. And will you ever have the perfect circumstances? No, there's always something to be improved. There's always something to get better. If you want to wait for that, go ahead and do it. If you want to keep working on yourself and become a better version of you in the process, I'd try that. We would recommend you do that, and you'll see that circumstance will either begin to not be so significant to you anymore, it will change, or you won't even notice it anymore because you will outgrow your circumstances. So that excuse, again, totally not valid in our book. Then there's a very common one. Well, I really want change in my life, but I'm not the problem. My spouse is, my parent is, my ex-partner is, my boss is, my sister, my brother, my cousin,
my boss,
my neighbor, boss. That's the most common thing. People are looking at their lives, looking at what they don't like, and then they say, well, if my boss weren't there anymore, my life would be great. Bullshit. That's not how this works, because if you believe that, your boss is going to be replaced with a boss that's even worse than the one you had before, or this person. In other words, everything you experience in your circumstances is mirroring something to you. It's just telling you something. We are not saying, for example, that if you are in an abusive relationship, that you should remain there or that you should accept that. That's not about it. But it is about, even there, you have to make the choice. You have to walk away. You have to do something. You have to call someone, help, ask for help. But the thing is that change always comes from within. It always comes from that innermost part. And it is never about the person in your life that appears to be the problem, because that's exactly what it is. They just appear as the problem so you can realize it. And then again, once you get on this journey and really get committed and show up for yourself and exemplify the discipline that it requires, those problem people will begin to fall away, or you will begin to not care anymore. It won't bother you anymore. Whether someone says something that, would have triggered your old self, whether someone does something that would have made your old self angry or sad or mad, you're not reacting to that anymore, because you are in a higher vibrational state and you're in control of your vibration. You're in control of your balance because you've learned how to do that. And then no one else needs to change. You realize it's you who changes. And then slowly but surely, the world around you begins to reflect that. It can't be any other way. That's a law. That's how the universe cooperates with you. And then we have one more, and there's a long list of variations of these excuses that we keep hearing. But one is, for example, well, this is just not something anyone in my family has ever done. No one's ever gotten help or done a course or had a coach. No one, none of my friends go and see a therapist, or it's just uncommon in my culture, in my country, whatever. Who cares? Who cares? Who cares? It's about you. It's about what you want, what you desire. It's about your willingness to show up for yourself. Again, it's showing up for yourself. If you are waiting for someone else to show up and do it for you, that is never going to happen. And you might say, but there are poor people that play the lottery and then they get a whole bunch of money. That doesn't create change. That's just something on the outside that usually for a very short period of time brings enough distraction to make them believe their life has changed. But go talk to lottery winners, a whole bunch of them. If they weren't in a good space before, they are usually not in a good space now. Those who were before, they're usually in a better space now because they were on the upward spiral. But that's all up to you. And we're here because sometimes you just got to hear it out loud, and you got to realize it's not just you. Everyone makes excuses. All of us make excuses with something for something. But here's the thing. Once we realize it, we have a choice. Keep making those excuses. Then that becomes a conscious lie. Before it was a subconscious lie, you were subconsciously lying to yourself. Once it becomes a conscious lie, it becomes a much bigger problem in your life. Because then you realize every day that you're not showing up for yourself, you will realize you've been lying to yourself for another day and another day, another month, another year. And that doesn't create a good energy for you. That doesn't create a good energy for change. So now, no matter how long it's been, no matter what you have believed yesterday or even 10 minutes ago, you can change, begin changing today. And we are never going to lie to you. Kristin and I will never say this is a 3-day kind of thing. You come to a 3-day event and you do the work for 3 days and you're going to be a changed person. You can create enough energy. You can create enough energy in such a short period of time to see, feel, experience how good it can be. And that inspires you to keep going. Because inevitably, there's going to be days that feel crappy. Inevitably, there's going to be days where life's going to show you the mirror like this. And then that's where you need that inspiration. That's where you need that inspiration. And to remember that you had already had an amazing experience. You already had a mystical moment. You know how good it can be. That's then what you thrive on when times are not so good around you or even inside of you. So this is a process. Change is a process. Transformation is a process. But as much as you will always change in your life, you are then on a different track. This is the track that you already know where it's going to go. And this is the saddest thing that we hear when people say at 25, 30 years old, 35 years old, they say, well, I have about 25 years left to work. I'm going to be at this job. I'm going to get about maybe a paycheck increase of a couple percent every other year. And eventually I'm going to retire at age 63 and I have my 401k, whatever you have. And then I'm going to do what? Where's the fun in that? Where's the excitement in that? Where's the joy in that? You didn't come here to live by those narrow, little, limited beliefs and rules. You are potentially the most amazing human being to ever walk this earth. We don't know, but you potentially are. But you have the potential to have such an amazing life experience, to have to actually know how to go into that mystical place, how to open that dimension for yourself. When you learn how to, in the morning when you get up, go into a state of deep meditation, and you learn how to interact with God, with Source, with that field, you will never want to do anything else. You will never want to live without that anymore. And that's where change is really created. That's why we say this is work, because your reptilian brain, the mechanisms, the survival mechanisms that you have are also the comfort mechanisms. And they keep telling you, yes, we could do this, but it's more comfortable to sleep in. Yes, we could create that change, but it's more comfortable to do what we know, even though we don't like it, but we already know what it is. And that's where you tap into the power of the unknown, because everything you want comes from the power of the unknown. That which you already know, you know. And if you were enjoying it, you wouldn't be here. You wouldn't be here. You wouldn't be looking, searching going out there and chasing something. And so it is about making that decision that the search is now over, because chances are you've watched 1,000 videos, and we will be here. We'll keep giving different perspective on different things. But the thing is, if you just keep showing up to watch this or watch other videos or read other books, you're going to have this like a 1% benefit. But that's never going to create that big change, because this is an active thing that you need to do. You need to go into the space where you become, your heart, your brain, your body, everything becomes connected. That's in a deep state where all those programs run, and shift in that state. That state isn't, you can't access it when you're just in a conscious state of being. You have to go deeper. That's where the real change happens. And that's why this is so often emotional work, because in those deep states, you access things that you're pushing down, that you haven't dealt with, that are still there, and then they come up. That's when you cry for, because you watch a movie and it reminds you of something in your life that happened, and then you start crying, and it's an emotion from the past that is unhealed, or you wouldn't be crying about it. So these are the things you have to go deep. There's just no way around it. And I want to say this because I know many of you have already been doing the work, and they have been showing up, and they have been seeing results, but they still require you still might feel like you need more processes. You sometimes ask yourself, how much longer, how many more processes do I need to do? Why is this still coming up? And then it begins to look like this is a never-ending thing, but it isn't. It really isn't. It is like healing a wound, and sometimes this goes really fast. Sometimes it takes quite a while, but once it's healed, it's healed. And then it just becomes a memory. Sometimes it's a little scar tissue that's still there, and that's just a memory. It isn't active pain anymore. It isn't actively healing anymore or doing anything anymore. It's just something for you to know it was there. And so this is the same here. We're not saying to you that you will have to do processes for all of your life and do this all the time, but there are certain things that we would recommend you do for the rest of your life, like daily meditation, or at least a couple times a week. We would always recommend that.
I will get hooked anyways.
Yeah. Ain't that the truth? Christine said you'll get hooked anyways. Once you're there, you won't need us to recommend that to you anymore. But we want you to know that the ease and the flow and the joy and the fun is real. The living in the flow of life and that which you created and that which you will create, it's all real. But from where most people are to getting there, that isn't necessarily always easy. That because you are not in that flow yet, and you're training, you're teaching yourself, you're reprogramming yourself, you're going beyond what used to be comfortable because this old comfort doesn't serve you anymore, into something new. And this is what so many people they mistake this for, if it doesn't feel comfortable, it can't be right. And this is wrong on so many levels. It's mainly a bodily thing, because change feels amazing in the first instant, right? You have this euphoria. It feels so awesome. You're in a new state. You create a new feeling for yourself, a new experience. It feels great. And then you want to keep showing up for yourself to make this your new normal, if you will. But guess what? Your subconscious mind, your body, they're still programmed to the old ways. And they keep craving that until you repeat it often enough that the new way becomes the new normal, and the body has forgotten how the old ways worked. That's a process. Sometimes we have those mystical experiences, those amazing experiences that we can't really plan for, where such a shift happens instantaneously. These are awesome, and we take them as a bonus, beautiful bonus in life, and we appreciate them, we love them. But those magical, mystical shifts, we will only be able to create more consciously when we're in a more evolved space of being. Up until then, we use the beautiful resources that we have. We use this beautiful mind. We use our heart. We connect with source, and we work with this amazing power, and we create a little bit of change every day until we have shifted, until we have truly shifted, until we're really in a new space and new things begin to happen. And as so many wonderful teachers have said before, then you're not out there trying to get it. Then you are in this space where it is finding you. It doesn't mean you don't have to do anything. It just means you're being then connected with people, things, circumstances, events, resources, whatever it is. You're then being connected because you have elevated yourself to that vibration. And that is the work that is worth it. That is so worth it. That's when this becomes more important than anything else you have done in your life before. That's when this becomes the center of your attention, not because you're ego driven, but because you know that you will become the best version of yourself, that you will bring that to your life, to the life of your loved ones, to the life of your community, to the life of your country, to the life of all that is. You will bring that best being, and that will just keep getting better and better and better and better and better. But it's not easy to get there. I'll just be honest, because it's like saying, here I am lifting 35 pounds, and it's really easy to show up tomorrow and do 150. No, it's not easy, but you can get there. And once you put yourself in the next and the next and the next step, and you allow yourself to take steps, you go, okay, I'm putting myself in the 45-pound category now. You are then shifting gears. You're getting into this new energy, and chances are, it might be pretty easy the first time you do it because you put yourself in that energy. That's a step, and that's something too, and that's really important. It's called the believability factor. And that's something that changes so much for so many. It is so much easier for you to believe in the next step and believe that that's possible for you than to believe in this huge leap that's somewhere out there. Keep that. Be in that, dream about that, dream from that, go to that daydreaming place, but also believe in your next step and believe in the power of the next step. And remember that the journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step. There's nothing wrong about that. Cool thing though, first you take steps, then you begin doing leaps because you're so good at taking steps that you can jump. And then when you're so good at, taking jumps, you kind of feel like you're levitating sometimes. And sometimes you are. Sometimes you're like just levitating up the stairs. But it's a gradual process. Give yourself the time and enjoy it, because celebrating those little steps, it's so beautiful. Kristin and I have made it a point to remind ourselves to celebrate the little steps. And oftentimes we were celebrating things that only we could see. They were still invisible, but we already knew they were there. So we celebrated them. And celebration, whatever that means to you, to us, it was never popping a bottle of champagne. It was more rewarding ourselves with self-care, self-love, maybe creating a beautiful meal together, maybe going to a special place that we really enjoy. But celebrate those little steps, and you will begin to be more in that energy. You're creating momentum. You've heard this so many times. You're getting the wheel to spin. And once the wheel is spinning, it's so much easier to keep it going and increase the speed. It's just that first discipline, that first effort to get it to roll that requires a lot of showing up. But if you're willing to do it, there's simply no limits to how good it can get. No circumstances are final. No circumstances are eternal. No circumstances are chiseled in stone. They aren't. You can totally transcend your circumstances. Sometimes you overcome. Sometimes you transcend. And eventually, you're going to quit looking at life that way. Eventually, you're going to quit seeing limitations. Eventually, you're going to just think, feel, look, find opportunities all around you. We can help. If you want us to accompany you on that journey, if you want, for Kristin and I to be in a space of mentorship, if you will, guide you. Now, here's the promise that we can give you is we never hold back. We always give everything we have to give. There are no secrets that we keep for ourselves or for a special group that pays $10,000. We don't do that. We fully give unconditionally because we love doing that, because we love seeing you thrive, because we love seeing people creating a wonderful life for themselves, and we love seeing the expansion. There's nothing more satisfying than doing that. That's the promise that we can give you. What we can also tell you is we can't do it for you. The condition is that there's really just one condition, that you want that change more than you want the old comfort. You got to want it more. You got to desire that more. It's got to be something real inside of you that drives you, because we cannot do that for you. But if you do that, if you have that, if you say today's the day, I don't want to wait anymore, I realize there's so much more. It can get so much better. We're here for you. Again, whether that's by doing a one-on-one coaching, whether that's by booking a EUCY session, or whether that's by joining a course, or whether that's by joining our membership calls, or whether that's not us, that's totally fine too. If it's not us, if there's another program, another course, another coach, by all means, if you feel connected, go and do it. We're more interested in, for as many people as possible, starting to live up to their potential than we are in being the facilitators necessarily. If we're just a spark to get you started here, wonderful. Then we have fulfilled a part of our role. If you feel inspired to join us and to allow us to be part of your journey, we'd be honored to do so. We just want you to know this is not tied to a specific person. There's no specific guru out there that only that person can do it for you, or only that coach will be able to help you. It's about the right combination. Where are the co-creators that can guide you in the best possible way? But it's really you who's doing it, okay? Don't let anyone ever tell you that you depend on them, or that you need to keep going there, that you need to keep showing up for therapy 10 years, for 10 years or longer. That's not authentic. It's not real. It's not, it's ego driven. I'm part of that person. But that's it. That's it in a nutshell. And you can go through those excuses. And once you find, once you realize, oh my God, I'm just making another excuse for myself here, just say, okay, good job. You caught yourself. You found it. Now what are we going to do? How are we going to shift? What are we going to change? Ask yourself, is it worth it? I can't even begin to express how much it's worth. And I want to tell you guys, we are never, ever teaching something that we haven't lived. So if we're saying you can go from shit to hit, it's because we've done it. Because we've gone from a really shitty experience. We've gone from shitty circumstances. We've gone from having nothing, and I mean nothing material, tangible in our hands, to living a beautiful and abundant life. We have done that. Not just once, actually, maybe twice or 3 times. And if you are saying, well, I'm in a really bad health condition, we have done that too. We have decided to have that experience in this lifetime too. And we've gone to thriving health and to feeling really, really great. If you believe that, only you are experiencing this, it's not true. So many people are experiencing this. But we want to tell you, we're never, ever going to teach or guide you in ways that we have not experienced ourselves. That's why I always say, I don't really make stock market predictions. We don't really give advice on that. We also, don't give advice on a number of other fields, but there's really good people that do. But what we're really good at is in guiding you to living your best possible life. That's something that lives in us, and we have done a lot of living, and we're doing a lot of living. We have learned how to do this. We have educated ourselves. We have practiced life experience, and we do practice what we preach. We do practice what we preach. That's what makes us authentic, what makes this process authentic, and what makes your experience authentic. That's what we are here. That's what we love to do. And there are no limitations. We will never, ever, ever put a limit on you, and you shouldn't either, because there's nothing that you cannot be or do or have. And I really mean that.
Alex is asking a question. What would you say about fear of disconnecting from the reality that you know, including people and relationships you already have from this work?
That's one of the most common things is, and this is what happens, and this is where we see that this is maybe, it's a really good question because this is sometimes where we see the exit. People get on a path. Because what happens is once you make a decision, that first shift usually comes pretty quick. There's a really like a pretty big shift right in the beginning. And once you make that shift, after a little bit of time, you begin to really, it begins to show. You can't help it because you've made a shift. There's a shift that happened. So people around you notice. And the people around you most likely won't all be comfortable because you have changed. You're not living up to their old expectations anymore. And most people don't think, oh, this is great. I want to do that too. They say, well, gee, Alex has changed so much. I really don't want to hang out with Alex anymore because, Alex is not acting the way Alex used to act. And so there's just something that you need to make a decision. Are the circumstances, the what people think of you, is that more important, or are you more important? Is your well-being more important? Is your expansion more important? Is your best possible self more important? And that's a choice that you're going to have to make, because you will not be able to change yourself and your circumstances and your friends and your family. You will be able to change yourself. That's fully possible. Your circumstances, in a lot of ways, will change too. The people in your life might not. They might stay exactly the way they are, and maybe you won't be compatible anymore, or maybe you will have to find a completely new path to communicate, or maybe they, will decide that they don't want to be connected to you anymore. All of that's a possibility. Again, we won't lie to you.
They are inspired.
Or they are inspired, which happens too. But that's just not something we concern ourselves with, because we believe that we have and attract and bring the people into our lives that we, that's a perfect symbiotical interaction. And one thing is also really, really important in this, that if you allow yourself to be slowed down by that, you will always again find that excuse. But the people who truly love you for who you are, they will love the new you. They will love the changes that you make. And there are those people, a handful, that usually stick around in your life that are always happy for the improvements that you make, that are inspired, that are, going with you because they love you for who you are, not for the expectations you fulfill. So that's a common fear. But again, what's bigger, the fear of that or the desire to really create that big shift? And only you can answer that for you. So it was a little bit of it was a fairly gentle asking, wouldn't you say?
Yes.
It was more like a butt stroke. Well, Inspired Tribe, thank you for joining us today. Again, we're introducing the European membership call soon for our European members, so at a different time, so it will be easier for you.
Of course, all other members can join too, but it's just that most likely.
If you're in North America and you want to,
1 p.m. something like that.
We call it a European call because it's going to be in the evening hours of the European time zones.
And
easier.
More like noon hours here.
And more like noon hours here in the US. But if you're from Asia, or if you're from Australia and that suits you better, by all means, it is not limited to the European continent. We just call it because of the hours. And that's going to start pretty soon. So just send us an email to 365inspiredliving@gmail.com. That's a weekly membership call. And it's a really inspired, focused, intentional path movement forward. And the intensity of it is really decided by you. As always, we bring our full 100% self when we show up. And if you show up, then there's really absolutely nothing that you cannot do or be or have. So, Tribe, thank you so much for being here. Amen. Amen, my wife. Amen. Alma, thank you so much for your contributions, for being such a loving and generous tipper here. By the way, some people asked us. We got an email. They said, well, "What is that? What is that yellow or blue thing popping up in a live chat?" That's called super chat, and which like Alma did, gives you the opportunity. I think you can buy stickers to use, and then that's gonna a part of that, whatever you spend is gonna come to us as the channel creators, or you can just send a donation, and again, that's gonna benefit the channel in our creation. So we really appreciate that. Thank you so much. And other than that, tribe, we'll see you again on Wednesday, 2 p.m. Central Standard, right here, and have a wonderful, joyful, exciting, and blessed rest of your day. We love you all.